So this is a little bit of a weird one. Basically, I've been involved in various different levels, student ministry, just ministry in general, young adults, young men, and volunteering different places, security teams, just whatever, like for a long time. If we go all the way back to like just doing like the worship team band thing, we're talking 20 years of volunteering and showing up, stacking chairs, as well as leading small groups, just doing all of that. Just all that kind of stuff from official, like real or like titled positions, my own office, that kind of a thing, having a desk, to internships, to just as a volunteer, all of it. And I have to say, there are days when I wonder if all of it wasn't a waste of time. And why do I think that? There's an abundance. Most of the time, it's just the depression talking. If I'm totally honest, like it's mostly just the depression, the self-doubt, the insecurity. It's just that. But when I look at what's come from it, just because I've really only connected with one of the kids, one, maybe two of the kids that I ever really mentored, not connected really at all with any of the people that I volunteered with, served with, worked with, moving across the country, so I don't go to any of the churches anymore that I've spent most of the time in. Of course, I still volunteer in the church that I go to now, but I still wonder, like, at the end of each service, there's that, yay, we did it, and then, like, 15 minutes of silence, and then, boom, just did this wrong, didn't do that correctly, meant to talk to that person, didn't do it, just all of it, just constant questioning. Did I do it right? Did I do it well? Did it mean anything? Did it accomplish anything? And when I look at the statistics, can't really say, I don't know, like, can't really say anything definitive. Partially because, I mean, you never really know. I mean, you can have a conversation with one kid one time, and then they disappear from your life forever after that, and then meet them in heaven. And then you could spend days, weeks, months with another kid, teenager, whoever, young adult, trying to disciple them, trying to mentor them, and just, they can sing the songs, do the dance, tell the story, the whole thing, but you can tell it's not there, that it hasn't had any real lasting effect, and it's just, why even? What was the point? And I think it's difficult, like, and I keep, like, even as I'm doing this, I keep wanting to bow it, like, tie it up in a nice little bow of, like, but then I remember Jesus, and I remember what I've read in Scripture. I remember, like, I keep wanting to bring it up like that, to make it sound like it only lasts for a little while and then it goes away because I remember some conversation I had, somebody, and it helped them, and then everything is fine. Like, but the truth of the matter is, 9/10 of the time that I spend, let's say, if I'm awake for 12 hours out of the day, 10 hours out of that day is not that. It's not the remembering the truth. It's the wallowing in the self-doubt. And like I said, part of it is simply the depression. It's just the fact that I have this, and it's the black dog, and it follows me around. And part of, like, And I mean, Lord help me, there are days when I enjoy it. I indulge it on purpose simply because I want to feel like crap. Maybe it's because of something I'm going through, maybe whatever. But simple, like, yes, it's true. And it's ironic because I just did the other video about living in fear. Like, it's not that I'm afraid that I'm not having an impact. It's not that I'm afraid. It's not that I don't trust God to work through the words that I say. It's not that I don't trust God to do things that I can't fathom. It's not that. Intellectually, spiritually, I comprehend all of those truths. It's simply that in my emotions, which obviously emotions are irrational, but in my emotions and just in those quiet moments when I don't have anyone around, that's when I guess when you're face to face with the real you, when I'm face to face with the real me, I realize just how little of an impact. Partially as well because I read books about people like George Whitefield and Charles Spurgeon and John MacArthur, and like, wow, they've made amazing impacts in first grade awakening, second grade awakening, and like Martin Luther. I read about these people like, how did that happen? And in a lot of ways, the only way that I can really describe it is simple jealousy of what they've done. Because most of them, Oswald Chambers dead at 27. I'm 3 years older than that. Martin Luther, George Whitefield, only 30 years old when he started coming back and forth across the Atlantic to reach the New World. Just feel like I'm so far behind. I feel like I've done nothing, that I've been given all these resources, being in America, having access to world-class education, world-class resources, the internet, all these things that I've had, and it's all amounted to nothing, to not much. Let's just say not much. I spend more time on Netflix than I do probably anything else, maybe other than YouTube. And it's just, what have I been doing? And that's the thought that keeps getting me, like, what are you even doing? Is it worth it? What are you even doing? Is it worth it? And like I said earlier here, like, I want to keep dragging it up, pulling up the anchor of, like, yes, it's worth it because the spiritual truths that I know and affirm. And that's all I got. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it should. We get this imagination that it's always going to be warm and bubbly, that if you're doing the right thing, it's going to feel like it should feel. It's going to feel good to do the right thing. But in fact, most of the time, doing what you've been called to do is more like dragging a plow through a furrow than it is anything else. You're going to get dirty and you're going to be sweaty and there won't be a lot of shade, but at the end of the day, there will be production. Or there won't. See, it's the farmer's dilemma, right? He needs rain in order to have crops. But he can't give himself rain. And we don't understand that as much because we irrigate. We just pull out a hose and water our plants, and we think that that's normal. But throughout most of human, like, even still, if it doesn't rain, the farmer needs rain, but he can't make it rain. But if he doesn't go out and plant the seed, then it doesn't matter if it rains or not. And I spent most of my life feeling like I'm planting seed and the rain just really didn't come.